Perhaps one of the strangest things about the 2024 and newer Mustang GTs is their lack of factory fog lights. It's really a weird omission on these cars, but thankfully Diode Dynamics has applied their expertise to the X650 and given all of you owners out there an OEM style upgrade in the form of their Elite Series LED fog lights. This is a really clever kit that looks and functions like a factory Ford item, only a little bit better. Many of us, myself included, found it a strange omission that Ford didn't include fog lights on the latest gen Mustang. And if you value OEM style integration, Diode Dynamics has the solution right here. The Elite Series is going to be the perfect addition to your S650. The included bezels are designed to fit perfectly in the lower front bumper without any cutting or modification to the bumper itself. They retain similar styling cues to the original grills, and they've got an open mesh right here on the inner portion to allow the proper amount of air to reach the cooling system, again, just like your stock bezels. But the most exciting part of this kit is probably the lights themselves. These are of course fully LED, and they've got a few cool tricks up their sleeves. First is the single piece toroidal lens. Now if you don't know what that means, don't worry, I had to look it up too. But it is a single piece lens with two different curvatures across perpendicular dimensions. What that means for you is the beam is very focused and it doesn't scatter or break up at the edges. You get a full 80-degree spread of light with no glare, so it's wide, clear, and has a nice sharp cutoff. The 6000K color temperature gives you a true cool white light to perfectly match the other LEDs on the car, and that light will cut through the darkness exceptionally well. All of this while still conforming to SAE fog light standards, so these are fully street legal. The lights are also designed to integrate without the need for a separate switch, and they actually will come on automatically. When your headlights are switched on, the fog lights come on automatically, and they will switch off automatically when your high beams are activated or when you turn the headlights off manually. The backlight function here is also very cool, and that activates automatically with your parking lights. That's the other fun feature that these are packing. Now that backlight is amber to match the parking lights, and it just adds that OEM type style and integration. So if someone were none the wiser, they would think that this was just a factory Ford part. But you'll get the satisfaction of knowing that you fooled some people, and you'll get the benefits of a really good aftermarket setup here too. The OEM style theme continues with the construction. The housings are made from ABS plastic, just like your original trim pieces, and they've got the texture on there as well, so they will match your trim perfectly. The lights themselves feature an aluminum housing and a UV coated polycarbonate lens. Now inside you'll find copper core circuit boards and multi-die automotive grade emitters. Diode Dynamics also assembles these right here in the USA, and the units are robotically sealed with a urethane epoxy to keep those sensitive electronic components inside safe from moisture and dirt. The housings themselves are IP68 waterproof rated, and you've got moisture proof vents on here so they can breathe and they won't fog up. They also include integrated adjusters on the back, so you can adjust these exactly to where you need them. Diode Dynamics also tested these extensively to SAE standards, just like your factory original parts. So they tested them in a temperature range from -40 up to 185 degrees Fahrenheit, and also completed vibration, moisture intrusion, and corrosion testing. So they can give the Elite Series an industry-leading 8-year limited warranty for some additional peace of mind. All that to say, these are built just as well, if not better, than some original factory parts, and you will get the thing that Ford didn't include in a way that integrates perfectly well and looks exceptional and works even better. Pricing comes in at about $500, which, considering all the R&D and the material and build quality here, I think is a really reasonable price. These are rather unique in the market at the moment, but given all that you get, the price is great and the integration is well worth paying any premium that they might charge. The news gets better when we start to talk about the installation process. We're going to give this a 1 out of 3 on our difficulty meter, and the job should take you around 2 hours to complete. Now you will need to pull your front bumper cover off, but the job is very straightforward and really just entails plugging some stuff in and popping the bumper cover back on. We're going to walk you through the entire process step by step right now, so let's head on out to the shop and get to it.
Tools required for this install include a ratchet, clip remover tool, Phillips head screwdriver, plastic pry tool, an extension, 7, 8, 10, and 13 millimeter sockets. Today we're installing fog lights on our Mustang, so let's get started. So the first step to getting our front bumper off is removing all of these 7 millimeter screws in the front lip, and then there's also one hiding right behind it at each corner. So I've got a 7 millimeter socket to pull all of these out. So take your 7 millimeter socket, remove all of these. And do the exact same thing for the rest on the other side. Next, we need to remove all the clips out of the front side of our fender liner. So I've got a clip remover tool to pop those out. Then you can remove this little flap. We'll get this one out of here first. And then we'll keep working our way up towards the top. And then we'll keep working our way up. And then you can repeat that on the other side. So now you can pull back on your fender liner, and now right where the bumper meets the fender, we've got two 10mm bolts. One's right here, and then the other's gonna be behind it. So you can get a shallow 10mm socket in there and remove those bolts. And then with that one out, you can kind of see right behind it, there's that second one. And then you can do that same thing on the other side. Now we're gonna come down to our side marker. On the other side of this connector, there's a black tab. Push that in and disconnect that connector. And then do that same thing on the other side. So now over on the driver's side, we need to reach underneath and find our bumper connector. Press in on that tab and disconnect that. Next, we can hop into the engine bay and grab a clip remover tool to pull out all the clips so that we can remove our rad cover. So we've got 4 clips up front, 2 in these pockets, 2 in the back. Pop all those off and remove your rad cover. And we're missing our clip here, but that would be your last one. And then underneath our rad cover, we've got a bunch of these 7mm screws going across the front of our bumper that we can take a 7mm socket to remove. So now we're gonna come back to the corner of our bumper. Right in between where those 2 bolts were, there's a clip holding this in. So I'm just gonna get a plastic pry tool in there, pry down to pop that clip out. Then do that same thing on the other side. Now at the top of our bumper, we've got our weather strip. We've got 1 clip right at the corner on either side that we need to pop off. So we'll just get a clip remover tool under there. Pop that out, do the same thing on the other side. So now at the top of the bumper, we just have a couple pins that are holding this in. So we're gonna have to grab our bumper at the top, lift up, and then we can pull out. Now that we have our front bumper removed, we're gonna pop off these covers behind our fog light holes, and then we need to pop out the larger plastic piece that our new fog light surrounds are gonna go into. So we've got to pop off this cover first. We've got these 4 screws. I'm taking a 7mm socket to pull them all out. And then you can just lift that off. And then we've just got all these tabs that we need to depress to pop this out. We're gonna grab this white clip first, take a plastic pry tool and push down on the tab here. And then wiggle it out. And then I've got one hand underneath. I'm gonna be pushing up on our black plastic. And then I'm just gonna be pulling out these tabs. Pop that out and do the same thing on the other side. So now we're gonna take our new fog light trim. We're gonna lay all the slots down onto our clips. You're gonna get it lined up. You might have to stretch and pull a little bit to get them all lined up before you pop them down into place. And once you have it in place and all of your clips lined up, you can start pressing it down and locking those clips into place. Once that's in place, take your white clip and put it back through this tab, and then we'll get our fog light installed. So now if you're standing at the bottom of the bumper, you're gonna want this connector pointed towards you. You can just drop that down into place, line it up with your 4 holes, and then we'll take the included screws and a Phillips head screwdriver and start threading our screws in. We're gonna just get them all started before I tighten them fully down. And then once all 4 are in, you can fully tighten down those screws. Now once you have one side installed, do the same thing on the other side. So now we're gonna start wiring up our fog light harness. The first thing I've got is a splitter harness that's gonna go to the headlight connector on the back. Now you can get to that connector right through here. I'm just gonna pop out the headlight just to give you a clearer view of it. So we're gonna grab a 10mm socket, remove our 2 bolts, and then we'll get the one on the side. So I'm gonna start at the bottom with this 10mm bolt. Take a 10mm socket and extension, pop that out. And then we can go up to the top, remove that nut, same 10mm socket. And now come over to the side, we've got a 13mm bolt, so grab a 13mm socket, pop that one out. And then you can slide your headlight out. Press in on the black tab on the other side of this connector and wiggle your connector off. So now I'm going to pop these 3 clips off with a clip remover tool. And you can pull your headlight out. So now we're going to run our fog light harness. We've got our 2 terminal connectors that we're gonna run up towards the fuse box, and then we've got splitter connectors for our headlights and our side markers. So I'm gonna run my 2 connectors up over here, just lay them down by the fuse box for now. I'm gonna plug in the headlight connector. And I'll grab that fog light, or the side marker splitter. Plug that in, and then we can grab our headlight and put that back in here. So now I'm gonna reinstall my clips onto the back of the headlight. And then take the other side of your splitter harness. We're gonna plug it in, and then there's this red locking tab that we're gonna have to push down. It's gonna be on the other side. And then just tuck your wires. Make sure they're not gonna get pinched. And then maneuver your headlight into place. And we'll start reinstalling our hardware. So I'm gonna start at the side by reinstalling that bolt. Tighten that down with a 13mm socket. So now we can get that top nut and bottom bolt reinstalled as well. Then take your 10mm socket and extension, tighten those down. So now we've got our two fog light connectors. We've got a shorter one that's gonna stay on the passenger side. The longer one's gonna go over to the driver's side. I'm just gonna run it right in between this inlet duct and the splash guard. And then we'll just let that hang out there until we're ready to throw our bumper back on. So now we're gonna come up to our fuse box. We've got our two terminal connectors. The one with this inline fuse on it is your power. Just the wire is gonna be your ground. So our power wire is gonna go right on our terminal right here. And then the ground we're gonna put onto this ground post right behind the fuse box. So pop that red cover off your fuse box. Then we're just gonna loosen up that 10mm nut. Take the wire with the inline fuse on it, and then you can just slide that right under the nut and tighten it back down. And then you can just angle that downward, pop your cover back on. And then I'm gonna run the ground wire around back to our ground post. We're gonna take an 8mm socket to loosen this one up. And once again, we're just gonna slide that right under and tighten it back down. So now we're ready to get our bumper remounted onto our Mustang. I'm gonna plug in the two fog light connectors while I have it in my hands before I put the bumper up. And then we'll plug in that side marker, the side marker on this side, as well as the bumper harness right before we reinstall our fender liner. Do the same thing on the other side and we'll lift this on. So now we're on the driver's side. I'm gonna reach in there and grab my bumper harness and reconnect that. So now we're gonna start up top. We've got that weather strip that we need to clip back into that one hole. And then we're just gonna thread in all of those screws. And then clip in your weather stripping on the other side. And grab your 7mm socket and tighten all of them down. Now these are going into plastic threads, so don't over tighten them. Next, we can reinstall our rad cover and then all of our push clips. And again, I was missing that one right here, so I'm going to skip that. So I'm going to start with reinstalling those two bolts connecting our fender to the bumper. We'll get both of those threaded in. And I'm gonna take my ratchet with the shallow 10mm socket and tighten those down. So now we're gonna grab the connector for our side marker, plug that in, and then we can slide our flat back in. And then we'll start reinstalling all our push clips. And get the second one hiding right behind the tire for our flat. And just work your way up. And then you can repeat that whole process on the other side. And now we just need to come underneath and run in all of those 7mm screws. And now you can do that same thing on the other side. So that'll wrap up this review and install of the Diode Dynamics Elite Series LED fog lights in white for your 2024 and newer Mustang GT. Thank you for watching, and for all things Mustang, keep it right here at AmericanMuscle.com.